Hi, I'm Jazz and I'm an alcoholic and I'm codependent. I work a 12-step program and I seek help. I am a seeker and a traveler in my journey. This is a show on, this episode will be about step 3 and it's very similar in Coda, but I'll say it out for you. Step 3 is made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood God. So this step really resonates with me about self-will, bondage to self, and it took me a long time to wrap my head around step 3. And I believed in higher power, like that part was fine, but to really hand my will over, that took a bit of work. And it sort of happened to me. I guess I couldn't. I was stuck in a way. I know better. I think better. I know the way. I'm in my self-will, and I'm driving the ship, driving the bus, and the scary, maybe the lesson that my higher power was giving me was, he was like, okay, like you go for it. You drive the bus. And so I drove the bus, and now I don't want to drive the bus anymore. And I drove the bus and I put all that energy into it, all my own energy, and like really pushing for things, to hit many walls and have very little fuel in the tank. I got to those places many times before I finally gave up and gave in. And, I live in a place today where I don't want my will. I'm scared to use my will. Like I have such a healthy fear around will today, where I'm like, I want this thing or I have this idea and I'll pray and plan for it. But I'm very, very careful now to just be like, only if it's your will, only if you want to, only if this is meant to be, whatever, please show me your part, the part I'm supposed to follow that is your will. Like, there's so much more surrender in my praying and my drive today. I don't want to do anything that has to do with my self-will. I don't want to get stuck in my self-will. I don't want to be in my self-will, because I believe and I know now that I don't know the best plan. I don't know the best way. I get in trouble with that. And I don't want to get too far down that path and then deal with all that destruction that I created from taking on my self-will. So I really try to get my self-will out of the way. But I was a person that was in self-will for a long time. And this step happened to me where I could see my higher power letting me take my will. He let me have my will. He answered my prayers. He gave things to me that I asked for. And then when I got those things, I was like, oh, this isn't that great. Oh, because I didn't think about this, and this. Like, I didn't have that vantage point that my higher power has. I didn't have, he let me do that and feel that, to have that false security, thinking I know better. And I'm kind of in my ego. I did that, and now I've developed some trust that, you know what, I don't see all the pieces. I don't know how everything's going to play out. There's things I don't think of. There's so much more going on that my narrow view and vision is not going to pick up on all that stuff. So I've learned how to get out of my own way for my own good. And thank God for that. But it didn't come in this, it came through many small awakenings, and till I finally started to get real with myself and be like, I don't think I'm good at this whole, driving the bus thing. And I think I really should start depending more on my higher power for these instructions, for what to do, which direction to go. And, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God, or God as we understand him. When I first heard that, I was like, everything, all my will, I'm pretty good at figuring things out. I still was in that battle with I still know better. I was still thinking I know better, and I really don't. And I've just come to a point of internal surrender, maybe, where it's just like I put a lot on my higher power now. Like, I'm like, you put the people in my life, you put the meetings I'm supposed to go to, like you tell me what work I'm supposed to do. Is this the person that my kid is supposed to go to session with? Is this the thing I need to do? Is this, I'm asking my higher power, which and how should I do this? And before, I would just do it. I would just do it impulsively, or like I would just choose and then deal with the repercussions after. And I got sick of dealing with the repercussions, because then I followed the trail back and it was like, oh, it was my decision. It was my way of thinking. It was my call. I didn't ask my higher power. So I've just created this mess. I've created all this extra work to do. So I just find, by really relying on, a God of my understanding or higher power, really relying on that outer message outside of myself, that relying on, what is the other way? What is the way I should do? Maybe I should give this some more time. Maybe I should ask some more questions. When I'm doing that, I get out of just only my thinking. Like, I have to have more thinking going on that comes from other places besides just my own thinking and my own will. And by breaking that up, by seeking and searching outward, what are those outer messages? What's the day telling me? What's my sponsor telling me? What are my friends saying? What are my prayers saying? What's my meditation saying? Like, all these outside sources, or higher power, some greater thing than me, I am seeking out what those answers and messages are, and then asking lots of questions, and then you carefully choosing with time how next to take my next step. And I used to just go and like take a whole bunch of steps, and then have a whole bunch of carnage, and then be all mad, and then blame God and blame everything else. But when I follow that trail back, I started the path that led off. I started adding that work without knowing it. I started creating that pain without even knowing what I'm doing, and then being all upset that all that pain has happened, all that hurts happened, and all this disappointment happened. But I opened all that to come on top of myself. So, I'm a little bit more conscious now. It's like, what will that do if I do that? Do I want to do that? Should I ask for help? Should I ask what someone else's ideas might be? Like, what's my inner voices saying? Like, you take all that collective energy outside of me, and then coming up with that creative answer and action is a lot better than just running with so many things. Like, I ran with so many things without looking or really being honest with how this is gonna play out. And so I got to a point where I almost am just like, what's your will now? Like, I don't want my will. Just what's your will? And so it's just like, I always prayed. I just went down the path so many times with my own will, and like I prayed for, I want a guy that's like this and this, and doesn't have kids, and because I don't want to deal with the exes, I don't want to deal with them, and like I really, this is what I need. And what happened is I did get that. I got that twice, and that was not a good decision for someone who wants to have a big family and lots of kids. Praying for people that they didn't have kids, but they had other baggage, so it's like, I didn't see that. Like my self-will only sees like a little bit of the picture. And so when I'm open to the larger picture and then just focus on the small action that I need to do, things work out a lot better. And when I was praying over the years for these partners, and then I got them, then when I was in it, I realized how difficult that was to be with people that didn't value family, that didn't have a very good bringing up, how, didn't like kids, but they didn't have kids. But I prayed for people that didn't have kids because I didn't want to deal with, because I'm selfish and I didn't want to deal with the exes and the emails and the extra phone calls. I didn't want to deal with the third party person. So here I am in selfish mode, selfishly praying for this. Then I got it, and then, it was really hard to parent and explain and work with someone that has no idea what I'm talking about. And I don't think that was better. So he gave me, like, many, many things in my life. My higher power gave me answered my prayers. And then I was like, oh, I'm wrong. Like, I'm really wrong. And so I've gotten, I'm, what do they say? Humbled. Like, he extremely humbled me to a point where I don't know. I don't care. I just want whatever you think, Lord. Like, whatever that is, like, what's the next move here? What's my move? Like, so I'm really closer in connection with my higher power in that sense that, like, I've just now, I believe also that I don't know it all, that I don't know everything, that I'm careful with how I pray now. And because what I'm asking, I'm careful to make it too much about myself for myself. And when my higher power fills my cup, when my higher power says, here, you walk the path that I'm laying out for you, because it's really good. Like, when I trust in that more, and I have been doing that more, it is better than me running around in my self-will. It is better. It is a better life when I take the passenger seat, not the driver's seat. And so it's not so heavy, and there's not so much thinking and energy getting put into the how all the time. Like, how am I going to do it all? And then using all that energy and then becoming really resentful at my higher power and everything else. Like, it's taken all that anger and resentment out, and all, it's not all my responsibility. Like, I'm my responsibility, but not how everything is going to be is my responsibility. So it's like, there's great freedom in not being my own higher power. So I think that I have, really, I say this is more about in my fourth year. I think it's taken me to my fourth year to fully surrender to my higher power's will in step 3. And I think that's just so interesting. Like, I've worked the steps, but some steps have internally changed in me over time. Like, just because I'm like, oh, I'm going to do like step 1 to 12 and then I'm done and I got my steps in there, I'm good. Like, that's, sure, I can do that. But I think that my higher power is actually internally also doing the steps with me. And those spiritual awakenings are happening at their own time. Like how has this step 3, even though I've done a step 3, how's my step 3 happen now? Like, there's another spiritual realm going on. Like, sure, I can do 1 to 12 steps in the physical world. Yep, I did the paper, did the work, blah, blah, blah. I might be a bit in my thinking though, and then thinking and in my spiritual in my physical realm, but in my spiritual realm, some of these steps have changed in me at different times and in different orders. So like I'm living in a mend of my life, and I got that one, but the step 3 one happened really internally, after years of working the program and really finally getting it, that when I get my self-will in there, I kind of invite other things that aren't good because I don't see them. But my higher power sees them. And if I'm not listening and I'm in my own will, I'm going to hit and run into those things because I'm not connected to my higher power's plan. So it's very important for me to stay connected to my higher power's plan and in every way that I can. And I find I'm glad that I get to reach that in my life. Like, it's scary to think that I could have never reached that point. But I started to put the pieces together. I started to see that, like, when I looked back, I was like, oh, I did ask for that. It did come. Like, my praying, I got to be really careful that it's in line with my higher power, because I might end up with something that I prayed for. I feel the weight of it now, and I feel the sincerity of it. My prayers may not come the next day, but I really do try to be my relationship with my higher power is a real relationship. So I just don't chime in sometimes, and I'm not demanding. It's a constant back and forth thing, like flowing in, flowing out, and coming back in, looking at those results, feeling those feelings, and like the message, I say my part, my prayer out, and then that meditation and that circulation comes back in. And with that ebb and flow and acting on things and listening to things, I'm figuring out the messages slowly and consciously, and being careful with my steps. But it's not wise of me to get too far down the path of just making my own choices. It's wise of me to ask, should I be stepping there? I'll try, but I'm a lot more conscious that I'm not doing it just because I want to do it, just because I think so. I have a sounding board, people in my life and truth tellers, and I want to know the truth, and I want to live the way that that he's trying to guide me to live. So I guess I finally believe that I don't have all the answers, and I finally, believe that there's a bigger view, that I don't have the full view. I don't have all the power either. So it's almost like, why run around with a small little view with not a lot of power, thinking I know everything? That just doesn't make sense. It just seems silly. So it's like, I could trust this larger view with a lot more power, and then just do the steps. There's not a lot that my higher power wants me to do. So it's like, I'm thinking I have lots to do all the time to figure out and overthink everything and avoid pain and avoid discomfort, all this exaggerated sense of self and work that I have to do. And my higher power is just saying, no one's making you do all that except for you. You don't have to see all that, know all that, be all that, and then feel shameful all the time because I didn't see it and know it, because, well, how could I? I'm not the higher power, right? So it's like I'm really moving away from that kind of thinking, because I also know that being a really driven person, I know that I can get really onto something really fast and quick and go at it full speed. So I slow it right down. And like I look at what's happening, I look at what the results are, and then I choose my actions accordingly to what is real. And then what is those inside instincts saying? And then I'm checking myself if I don't have a good idea, and I'm asking myself, and I'm asking other people. So there's a lot of things happening in between. I'm not just choosing right there. There's a lot of space in between all of these decisions and thoughts and what's going on inside of me. So I choose higher power's will today, and I chose my will for a very long time until I started realizing how much I get myself in trouble with just my will. Like, sure, I can use my will all day long and get a lot of stuff done, but I might be spending my energy in all the wrong places. I might not be getting myself the life that I have always dreamed of. I might not be inviting the correct things. I might not be seeing the right things. Like I do believe that there's a greater that my higher power has a better idea. And so I just try to really work at aligning with that. And so that step 3 I already had kind of a sense of a higher power, but to really get my will out of the way was the really big part of step 3 that really has helped improve my life. And I have more energy because I'm not spending my energy trying to figure out problems all the time and figuring out, the whole plan that I don't know. So I'm supposed to, as this relationship with myself and my higher power, I'm supposed to be working with my higher power through my life and my day and my things. Like that, out and in, and like that relationship, right? Like, who wants to help someone that, you haven't heard from in a year and just says, I really need your help? Like, is that the kind of higher power relationship that I have? Or is it like someone that's in contact a lot and available and appreciates my time and my love, and we both know what's going on with each other all the time? Like, to me, that sounds like a really healthy relationship. And so when I'm just calling on my higher power for selfish desires and I'm not that connected, it's going to be different outcome. So staying in, learning how to really have the back and forth of my higher power, it keeps me on more. And, so I'm not running around chasing my own tail in another direction I don't want to go, and then come back and try to rectify it all and fix it all. Like to me, that seems a little bit more of a surviving life instead of living my life. Like, there's times that I need to use my survival skills to live my life, but I'm trying to get out of only surviving my life. So sometimes I need to survive to get to living, but I'm living. I'm in the living mode. I'm in the connected mode. I'm trying to get away from the whole, fixing and managing and controlling and exhausting myself to reach an outcome for myself. So I wait and see what outcomes come of things without forming some attachment to what should be for me. I don't know what should be for me. I don't know what to think or need. I'm asking for those things, and I'm in touch with myself and with my higher power and my surroundings and groups and me's and all the things. So I appreciate that I have a step 3 that is working in my life today, but my story kind of comes from a place of that it sort of happened to me. I finally decided to get out of the way. I finally said, no, I don't know. So what what I don't know, I need to know, and then really have been focusing more on how to be, where to go, what is, and if this is happening this way, this is probably better it's happening this way. There's something else I don't see here, but I'm trusting that this is happening the way my higher power wants it to happen. This is the way it's supposed to happen. So it's so nice to have that kind of freedom today, instead of getting all down, like it didn't work out the way I wanted it to all the time. It's just sort of like, well, this is the way it's supposed to be, I guess, right now. So, what's my part? What's my higher power's part? What's their part? What's happening here? I find when I'm in my own reality and when I'm in the real reality and in conscious contact, it's a lot easier to stay on the path, and I'm doing a lot less effort in the wrong places. And then that effort I put in is going in the right places, which in turn also just gives me more energy, because now I have more energy, and also my higher power is doing a lot of the work too. So to me, that just seems like simple math. So that's my little take on my step 3 that happened for me in my life. So thanks.